I know I'm going to piss off a lot of people with this video, but before I start, I need to borrow just 2 minutes. Overrated, adjective. According to several verifiable sources online, overrated means to have too high an opinion of someone or something or to value them more than they really deserve. It describes something considered to be better or of more importance than it actually is. In other words, calling something overrated doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, it's just not as good as the general consensus regarding it thinks it is. Let's use these 3 examples. Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg.
The highest grossing director in the history of Hollywood, with his films grossing over $10 billion. Having directed classic epics like Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, Saving Private Ryan, Jaws, and my favorite E.T., has 3 Oscar wins, 2 as a director and 1 for Best Picture. Invented the summer blockbuster with Jaws.
Smile, you son of a...
Created DreamWorks Studios, you know, the studio behind the Shrek franchise, Madagascar, and some classics like Sinbad. Has easily the greatest filmography in movie history, and yeah, he's a billionaire like his buddy George Lucas. Steven Spielberg is neither underrated nor overrated. He's perfectly rated. He's the GOAT, and nobody comes close. Yeah, not even these two. And then we got Bong Joon-ho, or literally any international filmmaker that's not in Hollywood for most of their careers. This is easily one of the greatest filmmakers currently alive, but he didn't get his recognition until 2020 where he won 4 Oscars for Parasite, including Best Picture, the first foreign film to ever do that. Bong Joon-ho doesn't make record-breaking box office shattering blockbusters like Spielberg. He is known for making down-to-earth thrillers like Mother, Okja, Snowpiercer, The Host, and my personal favorite, Memories of Murder. The mainstream audience didn't know about any of his films until 2019's Parasite, which again won him 4 Oscars, including Best Picture and Best Director. I'm really going to emphasize on that part because that's a very big deal. I'm sure you know many such directors, niche, who make good movies, but nobody knows about them in the mainstream circle. They are underrated. Bong Joon-ho is underrated. And then we have Wes fucking Anderson. This nigga is the definition of a one-trick pony. All these movies feature literally a revolving circle of the same cast of Bill Murray, Adrian Brody, Jeff Goldblum, and Tilda Swinton. 90% of his films are box office flops, and he hasn't even grossed anything over $200 million in his 3-decade career, despite having access to all these casts and all these resources. He uses the same color palette in all these films, the same blocking and composition, the same quippy quick dialogues, and all these movies are just fucking weird. Don't get me wrong, he has a few hits here and there. In my opinion, the only good film he's ever made is The Moonrise Kingdom and Grand Budapest Hotel. But for some weird reason, he has this cult following who will die defending that he's the greatest filmmaker. Wes Anderson is overrated. Nailed it. Well, almost. Now, I think you see where I'm going with this. The Polygamist, like Wes Anderson and all these stupid movies, is overrated. I'm not calling it bad. I'm just saying it's not as good as everyone tries to make it to be. I'm glad we had this talk. Now, let's get to the video. Hey, drink water.
I liked the story, but I didn't like. If there's one thing that I can say dragged it down, was the pacing.
Let me explain. The editing and the pacing of the show was so horrendous, I actually had to watch it in 2x speed. You may think I'm hating, but let me give you the formula of a typical 20-minute episode of The Polygamist. Let's just pick the first episode. Trust me, what I'm about to show you is the template for literally all the episodes. I'll just show you the first 10 minutes. It has a total runtime of 26 minutes and 24 seconds. First 25 seconds are title cards. Then we cut to an in medias res shot of the final episode where Joyce cusses out Jonasi. This whole scene takes about 1 minute. Then we transition to 7 different establishing shots which take 10 seconds. This scene where Joyce is begging not to get dropped by her brand ambassador job, which is cross-cutting to Matipa getting her cheeks clapped. Cut to 4 establishing shots. Then this scene where Joyce, Matipa, and Jonas are arguing. Cut to 3 more establishing shots. Then this scene where Joyce is arranging about her wedding anniversary. And another 3 establishing shots. And here's my favorite. You will think that these 3 unnecessary establishing shots actually transition them to a new location. But nope. Still the same house where Joyce is, just a different scene. I want this to sink in. They use 3 establishing shots not to show us a change of time, a change of location, or a change of setting. They just use it because they do not know how to transition from one scene to another. Trust me, this happens a lot in this whole series. Anyway, we finally finished with a 2-minute 9-second scene of basically no plot progression and nothing from these other characters and Joyce, Gomorrah getting served their divorce papers, and then this scene cuts to, you guessed it, 3 other establishing shots. Now, as of this point, we are halfway through the episode, and in 11 minutes, we have approximately almost 1 minute of establishing shots that serve absolutely no purpose to the story and are overused. And get this, the average scene lasting only, and I'm not making this up, 94 seconds. Yeah, I calculated it. It tallies up to 94 seconds average. In other words, it is easier to get at least one sex scene every episode than it is to experience a scene lasting more than 95 seconds. What in the TikTok social media slop brain-fried retention editing is this? My problem with this show is you find yourself seated in an episode where absolutely nothing is happening for 80% of the runtime. One scene cannot go beyond 3 minutes without quickly transitioning to another. Tanja Hagen was the editor for the first episode. I don't know how many more they've done, but this is one of the worst editing I've ever seen in a TV show. And I gotta say this, while the acting and the characters and the set designs and the productions and the hair and makeup and the styling and everything looks great, I don't know what I can say about the story. I don't feel the same way. I feel like 70% of the time, my intelligence was being insulted. Like every time I was watching some scenes, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like who approved this in the editing room? Why was this allowed in the final episode? Like, this show has freaking 22 20-minute episodes. I don't know how I can say this politely, but this was stupid. We really don't need all these episodes. As a matter of fact, I want to show you something. This is what my individual ranking for every specific episode was. I have 2 episodes with a perfect score of 10, 3 episodes with a 9, 2 episodes with an 8. Everything else is below 8, with some going as low as freaking 3 over 10. In other words, I consider barely 30% of the episodes as good, and the rest are mid to downright horrendous. So do you have something good like episode 10? This was the flashback episode between Essie and Jonasi. And literally 2 episodes later, we have downright the worst episode following it. And another stretch of really mid episodes thereafter. I have a theory. I think I know why this show is 22 episodes long. I feel like the showrunners wanted to maximize their profits and their runtime and their popularity. Because, hear me out, if you have a show that's 22 episodes long and you pitch it to Netflix and say, hey, this show will have 22 episodes and everyone will watch it from start to finish. And the more people watch the episodes, the more Netflix algorithm pushes it to everybody's front page. So they have this false narrative that this is a popular show. Well, yes, it is a popular show. Don't get me wrong. It's #1 in fucking 20 countries in Africa. But if you have a 22 episode show that is that popular and Netflix algorithm notices it, you are more likely to get 3 to 5 seasons than if you had like, I don't know, an 8 episode show with only 40 minutes. Because look at me in the eye and tell me that this story actually deserves 22 episodes. A lot of things that the story downright make absolutely zero sense. Alright, brace yourselves. Check this out. Apparently, Jonas is portrayed as this lustful, cheating wife, beating psychopath at the beginning of the story. But we're supposed to believe that his affair with Matipa was the first ever scenario where Joyce caught him. Even in the flashbacks, he was a lustful piece of shit. But you wanna tell me it took Joyce 20 years for her to discover that? Just when the plot conveniently required her to do it? At this point, this shouldn't even be the first time it's happened. Maybe the 6th or 7th. You cannot tell me that Jonas got caught once. At the end of episode 1, we see Joyce Gomorrah burning down a house. Let me get this straight. Jonasi is a multi-millionaire with several houses, but none of these houses have a CCTV camera that, I don't know, could have been used as credible evidence to make Joyce as the arsonist. Mr. Gomorrah hires this hot secretary specifically to prevent women from entering his office. We are supposed to believe that the man controlled by extreme lust doesn't lust after a hotter secretary than the woman he chose to have an affair with. We have this abandoned storyline where this nigga's bait crashed a wedding because of a fight that broke out in the club 2 episodes prior. All it took to solve this issue was through security of a high-end multimillionaire with connections strong enough to bribe a police officer to drop an arsonist charge was solved by a simple punch. This whole club thing was solved by a single punch. Let that sink in. We have this other plotline where Matipa, being the lazy bare minimum gold digging whore that she is involved with another rich man, but it all gets abandoned. We don't see a breakup, we don't see how they all met. All we just see is a brief on-screen appearance that leads nowhere. A lot of plotlines are just left hanging because the showrunners overbodied them or something. I don't know, I haven't read the book yet, but this just sucks. It really, really sucks. This is more of a nitpick, but it's kind of funny how this is the episode that the Jonasi and Lindani affair began. We were never caught, because in this big mega mansion, we only have one worker who's been visible, a multi-millionaire with fuck you money, living in a mansion with no CCTV cameras, has only one worker. This looks like some Deus Ex Machina shit. If we're being realistic, Lindani and Jonasi's affair was the most sloppy. Literally anyone could have spotted them. The circumstances surrounding the story makes it impossible.
Stolen.
Apparently, this is all the explanation we get about Joyce having the access to call an arms dealer. I think it's important to give your protagonist a backstory. I know nothing about Joyce Gomora's past apart from this one flashback. This isn't even an exposition. This is just good old lazy writing. I feel like this is a very important backstory. This Sitole guy she talks about, I wanted to see more of them, but nope. We just get a multi-millionaire's wife who happens to be a social media influencer going into a dark alley to purchase a firearm and nobody raises an eyebrow. This is a normal Wednesday for this guy. Oh, a multimillionaire just walking in and buying a weapon? Holy shit, sign me up.
That's just lazy writing.
Okay, this is kind of weird. Not even a plot hole, just weird. Tell me why Freedom is being a watchdog and covering up for his mom when she's getting pile-drimed upstairs. I don't understand what this guy even does in the story. Who the fuck cock blocks his father while his mom is getting rammed in the next room? What in the white trash Alabama nonsense is happening in this show? This is some Jamie Lannister sassy type shit. And you will think that Jonasi, the guy who took a barely profitable company and turned it into a little Fortune 500 company, has the discipline to critically think. I don't care how damn bad and horny you are. Nobody in this world just randomly has sex with a stranger who shows up at your door to nowhere.
Like guys, let me get this straight. You remember this old porn skits from the 2010s where, I don't know, it starts where a hot blonde chick is coming out of nowhere and she's soaked in the rain and she says that, oh, my car crashed like 10 blocks away. And then she says, oh, can you let me in, stay in your place? And then you being the gullible loser says, okay, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'll let you stay in. And then she seduces you and then you have sex with her. Like, remember those porn plot points? That's exactly what happened to Jonasi. Jonasi fell for the most cliche porn plot. I don't know if this is in the book. This is how Sue Nyathi saw best to make Jonasi have AIDS. A very important plot point. He reduced it to a 2012 porn skit. That's Afro cinema for you guys. We're still doing this in 2026. Anywho, I'm gonna stop here. I just realized I have like 15 more episodes to do this, and I don't want this video to be longer than it already is. But overall, the general plot, overall story is a mere 2.5 out of 10 at best. And I don't know, man, I'm really trying to be lenient here. The story made no sense for the most part. I don't believe anything that's happening. I don't buy it. For fuck's sake, who wrote these episodes? What the hell am I watching? Is this a family drama? Is it a soap opera with multiple love triangles? Is it an AIDS awareness campaign? Is it a coming of age story? What the hell is it? What is the identity of the polygamist? I have to pinpoint an actual genre. I'll just call this a soap opera. Kind of like the good old ones we used to watch as kids. And since this plot, it's giving some stamp of a paradise, El Cuerpo del Deseos. This is not a family drama. This is a Mexican soap opera with an African cast set in South Africa who speak Zulu and not Spanish. Which is okay. I have nothing against a soap opera. I blame the showrunners. These two niggas, looking at the track record, they haven't actually done much outside of The Polygamist. One of the episode directors, Rolie Nikiwe, has made a bunch of flop movies and TV shows nobody outside of South Africa has seen. I mean, look at this Soweto story, 4.6 on IMDb, 2.9 on Letterboxd. The Inside Story, some BS nonsense about HIV, which again, nobody has ever probably seen. And this other Netflix original made by him and these other directors, which has barely a 5 on IMDb. I don't know, it's kind of giving that this is the guy that runs South African movie industry. He happens to have directed most of the episodes, and look at this. Episode 2 has freaking 3 directors. 3! A minute episode in 2026 needs 3 directors to make. What the hell is going on, man? I will, however, give a shout out to this guy, Busisi Nzwane. In my opinion, I feel like he wrote their best episode. Episode 13 and episode 19. These are my favorite episodes, and I'm not making this up. I didn't even know who directed them until I was writing the script of this video. They coincidentally happen to be the best ones. This amazing talent is wasted in a continent where dreams are killed. I hope to see more screenplays and more work by Busisi Nzwane. Netflix, Ted Serrano's, if you'll ever watch this, give this nigga a show. Make him the showrunner. Give this guy all the freedom, because I feel like this is talent wasted on garbage. Sorry. I mean, come on, let's face it. This show was kind of mid. But yeah, I was lightly entertained by the show. It's not a masterpiece, and that's okay. Not everything has to be The Sopranos, Dark, The Wire. For what it was, a soap opera, it was just okay. I'm kind of happy what this show has done to the main cast. I mean, look at this. This is a tracking of the main cast social media's following. You can look at the exact time they skyrocketed into megastars, from getting a few 100 million followers a day to literally 10,000 after it premiered. This is growth. I'm happy Gugu Gemede is finally getting that mainstream appeal, and I hope to see more of her in more things, because what we have right here is raw, untapped talent. She can act. She just needs more opportunities. I'm happy that Netflix is investing in Africa, and I'm happy that the actors of this show are getting their mainstream shine. Kinda sucks that these are the showrunners, because even though I've never read the book, I can fucking swear I know it wasn't this bad. But in future, I hope whoever greenlights these shows does a background check of who the showrunners actually are. I repeat, we do not need 22 episodes for this show. But one thing I know, this will be turned into a fan fiction.
This show will continue until season 5.
Oh no. And the main guy has died. So
So what
Yeah,
happened?
see, they just pick the ones that have not died.
They can choose to abandon the book and use the characters from the book and continue the
Abandon the book.
This Polygamist will continue for the next 3 or 5 years. Mark my words. And that's Netflix for you. So The Polygamist 2026 from South Africa. I approve it. Go watch it. But don't expect a masterpiece. Just turn your brain off and enjoy what you watch, and you will enjoy it.